So there's this musical note that my little earbuddy things make when I log into this with you, and it is almost exactly one of the notes of Blue's Clues, which is a show I didn't watch a lot with my kids, but I at least sort of kind of know that song, and there it is. So play for time. I'm gonna over the weekend. I'm gonna work on an intro. I'm gonna glue some stuff together and see what happens. So we'll make some play for times. Hey, it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Look at you with your hearts. Look at me with my gray heart. It's perfect. It's ideal. We are going to play a special game as people arrive and all that. We're going to do a game a little bit into the show called Fact or Fiction, where we ask all kinds of questions about what is perceived as a Valentine's Day fact or fiction, or is it around Valentine's Day? Nod your head yes or no, or is it about love? Okay, so it's specific to Valentine's Day. Okay, cool, awesome. One of these days we'll have your voice back. It's slowly on the mend, but you are still kind of getting feedback that you need to rest it as much as you can. But hey, look at that. Chloe Forbes Kinlan has said hello to us and that she loves your top. So yeah. So in the meantime, I just got back from a trip to New York, had a work trip. We have a new CEO on board, and we had to do kind of an onboarding and drink from the fire hose kind of a thing. So New York City it was. Hello, Leslie. Happy Valentine's. Good morning. Oh, by the way, and Leslie should appreciate this because she happens to have a hen house. I have seen a trend where people are giving each other eggs as Valentine's Day gifts. And I was thinking, man, the Easter Bunny is going to be kind of pissed. So it turns out that that's a thing that people are doing. So I was in New York, like I said, I was doing some work, and I snuck out and I did a couple photos. So I made just a really quick clip just to kind of show off some of the photos, and also just give us a thought for the day on what to do in this land of playing for time. So we'll start with that little clip. We'll talk about that, and then we'll dive into the game, Valentine's Day, fact or fiction. So stay with us. It's a live game, and we have only a handful of people. So stay with us. Otherwise, we're doomed. Better than jewelry. Love it. Here we go. I was away the last bunch of days, and now here I am back and excited to do Play for Time. I went to New York City, and one thing about New York City is that I consider it Disney for people with cameras, because there's so much to shoot. If you want to do street photography, if you want to shoot people, and I love taking photos of people. By the way, yeah, if I want to shoot people, I love taking photos of people. And I did a mix of asking a few people for their photo and of course tons of just candid people walking by, street photography kind of shots. And as I'm showing these to you, I hope you're seeing and realizing and going, oh, that's kind of fun. You get to see something that you haven't seen. But you know what becomes fun about it? And this is something to take with you in Play for Time. The whole point of Play for Time, how do you get out and engage as your years go on? One thing to consider at every angle and spot in your life is, am I going to do the same thing I've always done, or can I try to do something different? And that's what I did. So I had a nice old Soviet lens that was very manual focus. That's what I've been doing. I've been experimenting with it for a couple of months now. Well, this particular lens a couple of weeks. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to see, could I do things that this lens probably shouldn't be able to do? Could I get certain kinds of shots that maybe you wouldn't see? Could I take shots from moving vehicles? Could I do shots in different kinds of weather? And so all I'm saying to you in this is that one other way that we can play for time is to not do the same thing always. It's almost like the end of the song Here I Am by Lyle Lovett, when he goes through this long philosophical thing, and at the very, very end he says, so, after careful consideration, could you make it a cheeseburger? Here I Am is the song by Lyle Lovett. Fine song. Go find it after this. Time to play Valentine's Day Fact or Fiction. Kerry, you have a thought?
Yeah, you could unpack it a little bit. You gave us your video. You didn't tell us about why you took the photos you took.
I love to do street photography. I love it because I love seeing people. I love connecting with people. I love seeing the uniqueness of people. I also, the sort of secret trick to that is when I feel brave and when I feel bold and when I feel daring, I love to come up and talk to them and say, you look really interesting and exciting, and I would love to take your photo, because it really definitely makes it a better experience. What's different about New York than any other photos that I take is that New York is just so packed. Every single frame has so much in it. And you can see at any one time just uh, bicycles and emergency vehicles and workers and regular people on the street, and uh, tons of signage, tons of stickers, graffiti, street art, all kinds of things just gluing together. Like in there was a picture of a mural that has Michael Jackson as younger Michael Jackson and modern Michael Jackson before he passed away. And across the street from that is another street mural of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And you could stand on one corner and look at both of these. I showed a couple street photos of kind of some breakdance kids, and there's one set of photos from one direction that you can see, and then you turn and you can see them on the other side of the building. It's just so packed. So even though I've done videos about you could take photographs in small towns, we're in a small town. We've talked about this sort of thing. Even though I've done videos like that, what's noteworthy and interesting and worth it is that you can see so much so fast in a place like New York City. And I think it's just kind of it's a way to see more, experience more than kind of having to roll around to a town. It's just a concentration of more things. So it's not better. It's just more. It's just, there's more stuff. All right. Are we ready to play a game? Would you like to play a game? Okay. Fact or fiction. Now, Kerry put this whole thing together. So, I think it's an interesting project. I'm excited about the project. So I think if I got it right, nod your head or shake your head, I'm going to post up the banner that has the question, fact or fiction. The people who are here live will get a chance to guess these. And I guess if you're watching the replay, you can guess. You just, we'll spoil it for you. And then you have something queued for every one of these facts or fictions that will give even more information. Okay. So if I got that right, it's time for Valentine's Day fact or fiction. Maybe I should take Kermit. Okay. Fact or fiction number 1. 4 different U.S. states have a town named Valentine. That's the question. Is that a fact or is it fiction? 4 different U.S. states. Dan Garcon says, fact. And Dan, you know what I say to that? Yeah. You guys won't see this project probably ever. But I was doing a video project with Kerry and some others that we work with. And evidently there was a scene where my vocals weren't so great because of the silence. There was too much noise and stuff like that. So Dan got to be my ADO, my voiceover guy, and replace one of my pathetic yas with another ya. So Dan and Greg say fact. Leslie says fact. Singles Awareness Day, says Elizabeth. Okay, so Kerry, there's 3 different guesses for fact. What's the answer to this one?
Fact, they are Texas, Nebraska, Virginia, and Arizona. Fact, they are Texas, Nebraska, Virginia, and Arizona.
Wow, very nice. Handled. And Chloe was going to say fiction. So there we go on that one. All right, everybody, here we go. Question number 2. Fact or fiction? February 14th is celebrated as National Chocolate Day in Italy. Fact or fiction? Chocolate Day in Italy. So nice. She said it twice, says Dan. That's so funny. So fact or fiction? So nice. She said it twice. You want me to say it twice? Yeah. So fact or fiction? Am I leaving that comment up? Probably am. February 14th is celebrated as National Chocolate Day in Italy. So let's, people who are here playing live, click it in. Tell me some fact or some fiction. Me, what do I think? Oh, I don't feel like Italy would follow us on anything. I feel like it's fiction. I'm going to go with Greg Haley's opinion on that one. So let's see. Fiction, facts. I'm thinking no, it sounds too cliche. February 14th is celebrated as National Chocolate Day. Chloe, Elizabeth, anyone else want to weigh in on this particular one? Chloe says it should be fiction. Okay. All right. Carrie, let me get to the board.
National Chocolate Day is February 14th in Ghana.
So it's fiction, but it is celebrated in Ghana. So it's a little twist of the fact. I see. Every day should be chocolate day. Anyway, says Leslie. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair play. Interesting. So people are doing really well at this game. Felt like it was fiction, but for not the right reason. All right, number 3. Both women and men prefer to receive chocolate over flowers. Now, this does feel like a survey that was had. Can we agree that there was a survey of some kind that we're pulling this from? Okay. So fact or fiction, both women and men prefer to receive chocolate over flowers. Is that fact or is that fiction? And let's see. Chloe says yes to Leslie's opinion about every day being chocolate day. What's my take? I don't know what I'm going to do with flowers, so I am absolutely sure about the chocolate scenario. Leslie says fact. Chloe says fact. Greg says fiction. He'd like a nice set of flowers. Or, he says that that's what they said in the survey, which is a different feedback. And Dan says fiction. Very loudly, evidently. Dan says fiction. And Leslie says for me anyway. Okay, so we've got Leslie and Chloe saying fact. I think I said it was fact. And we've got Dan and Greg saying fiction. All right, what do we think about this?
Fact. Both women and men prefer to receive chocolate over flowers. Bonus fact. I prefer to receive twice as much chocolate and no flowers.
That is a good bonus fact. That's funny. So not only is it a fact, but you'd rather double. I think that seems fair. Awesome. Well, this is rolling along really nice. It was interesting how that one split, though, because besides me, the genders said, no. Both men and women would rather receive flowers. So Dan's just being contrary. All right, let's go. So, fact or fiction? 43%, almost half of millennials view Valentine's Day as the ideal day to get engaged. Oh. Fact or fiction? 43% of millennials view Valentine's Day as the ideal day to get engaged. When you said that Dan was just being contrary, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but Dan's response is that I am not being contrary. So to the contrary, Dan says, I'm not being contrary. Fact or fiction, 43% of millennials think Valentine's Day is the ideal day to get engaged. Well, millennials is different than Gen X. I think Gen X would absolutely say this is not a good day to get engaged. That's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Millennials, though. Would they think it's ideal? Not this time. Didn't happen, says Dan. I think it's fiction. I think millennials probably do think Valentine's Day is ideal. I think millennials are willing to buy the lies that Gen X pushed aside. And Greg says fact. And Chloe says, responding as a millennial, this would be my biggest nightmare. I vote fiction.
Fact, 43% of millennials view Valentine's Day as the ideal day to get engaged.
I'm right. I did say that one. So that's cool. I, for a minute, thought I failed that one, but I was right. I thought they would think it was because there's soft millennials, except for Chloe. All right. We did pretty good on that one, too. Pretty good results. Okay. Fact or fiction? Number 5. The Greek goddess Aphrodite is the mother of Cupid. Dan is doing a Jonathan Frakes opinion impression. Oh my gosh. So the Greek goddess Aphrodite is the mother of Cupid. To engage with a new CRM, you mean? And oh, geez, Valentine's Day is to engage with a new CRM. Yeah, that's great. What happened to us? Well, because every generation kind of tries to countermand the other generation's opinions on things. Gen X didn't go with the boomers. Millennials didn't go with Gen X. Then there's Gen Y, and then it goes crazy right after that with Gen A. None of the things make any sense anymore. We're all going to die. Fact or fiction, Greek goddess Aphrodite is mother of Cupid. I feel like no. I feel like Hallmark's the mother of Cupid. See, Greg says, I should have stayed awake in that class. Yeah, it's an easy one to have skipped. Leslie says fiction. Chloe says fiction. So that's three of us who say fiction. And truth bomb, says Dan. Okay.
Fiction. Venus is Cupid's mom. Fiction. Venus is Cupid's mom.
That's so weird how this StreamYard eats the first little part of that sentence. So it's almost like you're going to have to put in some kind of stupid filler words like this answer is fiction or something. As Dan points out, no, Venus is from Mars. It's because I need to start playing them all. I need to start playing them all. Oh, yeah. Playing them ahead of time, that's for sure. So, okay. So yeah, the Greek goddess Venus is the mother of Cupid. Venus envy right there on that one. Okay. Venus is from Mars. Should have gone with the gut feeling. Yes, your gut knows more than your brain sometimes. That is for damn sure. Okay. We're ready with question number 6. Fact or fiction? Billboard named Endless Love the #1 love song of all time. Endless Love. Is that one that ends, my endless love? That one? Okay. I hope fiction, but I have a terrible feeling it's fact. I'm gonna say fiction, just kind of like what Chloe said on her millennial one. I'm just gonna say fiction, even if I'm wrong. Dan says it's fiction. You're wrong. Never happened. We made it up. So let's see. Leslie says, I hope not, but I'm feeling it's probably going to be fact. Yeah, that's what I feel too, but I'm still going with fiction.
Fact.
Greg says
According
fiction.
to Billboard, Endless Love is the #1 love song of all time.
It's going to look like I sneezed, but I actually just pushed out my feelings through my nose holes. Endless Love. Jungle Love, maybe. Jungle Love. Yeah, that would have worked. Endless Love, #1 love song of all time. Wow. So Italy's got chocolate wrong. Billboard has Endless Love wrong. Who else could be wrong? Let's go with number 7, fact or fiction. 89% of roses sent on Valentine's Day are red. Fact or fiction? Billboard's opinion. Yeah, that's what I say. You guys, it's tub thumping. He drinks a whiskey drink. He drinks a vodka drink. My little brother's version of singing that song just keeps repeating even more drinks. He never gets to anything, and then he vomits. So yeah, 89% of roses sent on Valentine's Day are red. Fact or fiction? I think fact, because I think we're all basic bitches. I think these are the Ugg boots of roses. I think it's probably all red. 89. Unless, because you've been a little tricky. If the number is 89, I'm going to go fact. If you're like changing the number, it's like 94, then I will be like, that blows. So, all right. Chloe says fact with a question mark. Fact from Leslie. Fiction for Dan. It's more. See, I thought the same thought. I'll say fact and hope you didn't do that. And fiction says Greg.
This one's fiction. Actually, 69% of Valentine's roses given are red. Nice.
69. Nice. Okay, so it was a change in the percentage. That's interesting. Well, I guess it would have to be, duh. I hadn't thought much about that. Nice. Yeah, that's fiction. Fiction. That is fascinating to me. but 60, that's a much better percentage though, because I mean there's a lot of other colors you might want. You might want yellow, you might want, what's yellow mean? You're like friends, but you're in the friend zone, and white means you've gone to the wrong event. And I forget, there's 2 or 3 more like that. All right. Question number 8. About 20 million heart-shaped boxes of chocolate are sold each year. So not Valentine's, each year. 20 million heart-shaped boxes. Some people do not like roses. I believe that would be one person right there in a corner. Fact or fiction, about 20 million heart-shaped boxes of chocolate are sold each year. Do you think worldwide or US? Worldwide? You don't know. So this could go anywhere. Yeah, see, like once we start losing a little, we start going, in what ways have you messed with us? I'll say fact. 20 million is a lot, though. That is a lot. But there's billions of people, but there's also a lot of poor people that probably don't get boxes of chocolates. But Americans are fat. I'm going to go with fact. I'm going to say fact. Okay. Greg says it is likely fiction. Oh, it could be more. This one is hard. Chloe says fiction. Leslie says fiction. I missed it. I'm sorry. Affordable chocolates. Oh, yeah. Right in town. Dan says factual. It's actual. All right. Let's try it. What do you?
Fiction. People actually buy 36 million heart-shaped boxes every year.
It's more.
Fiction.
36. Sorry. Fiction. Oh, did you just recover one that just says fiction now? Did you throw one in that just says fiction? Okay. I was like, wow, that's impressively fast how you managed to do that. Got it. Elizabeth says, I'm looking forward to a heart-shaped sushi box from the local grocery store. Yeah, there are a lot of people who've said something like that. Like I said earlier in the show, there's a lot of people this year that are doing eggs as their gift to each other, because eggs in the US anyway is kind of hard to come by. Fact or fiction number 9. Valentine's Day is also the anniversary of the invention of penicillin. So you can take care of some infections. I've got these all right so far, says Dan. Leslie says, I can't wait for next year to hear the number of heart-shaped egg cartons sold. Yes. Oh, that'd be kind of clever. I wonder how fast you could get that out on the market. Probably a little too late given that today's Valentine's Day. This has been really fun, by the way, Kerry. Thanks for putting this together. So, fact or fiction question number 9. Valentine's Day is also the anniversary of the invention of penicillin. What do we have? My answer, I mean, it had to be invented on one of the days. I think it would be sort of, what's the word I want to say? I think it'd be sort of ironic or, poetic justice, either, maybe both. Leslie says fiction. It would be sort of funny. So off the wall. So Greg says it is likely a fact. Chloe says that feels so specific that I think it could be a fact, but I'm going to vote fiction. Okay, so I went fiction just because I like it. Also, the anniversary of the discovery of the largest object in the universe. Yo, mama. All right, Kerry, what do you got for this?
First of all, Dan's mama is tiny. I'm just saying.
This one's fact. Sir Alexander Fleming introduced penicillin on February 14th, 1929.
Yeah, it just seemed that way. Like Greg said, it's so off the wall that I'm just going to say it's a fact. Yeah. Oh, sorry. And then Elizabeth said, so is penicillin the ingredient in Love Potion number 9? Yeah, that's a really good question. It seems like what comes after Love Potion number 9, at least. So, all right, let's dig into number 10. In Japan, women do most of the gifting on Valentine's Day. I really don't think so. I think that women do not. Because I sort of feel like that. I got to go back on this because there's Hello Kitty and all that kawaii stuff, and like there's a lot of cuteness in Japan. Maybe they do some stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping someone gives an answer, and then I'll just ride off their coattails. Could go either way. Japan women do most of the gifting on Valentine's Day. I feel like they would do most of the gifting all the time. I think in general, women do gifting. Card stores, for instance, are designed for women because men amble into card stores usually when they're apologizing for something. Dan points out that actually Pokemon gave all the gifts in Japan. Must be a fact. Sometimes we have to do everything. Yes. Chloe says fact with a question mark. Greg says fact, men are too weak focused. Yeah, absolutely. I remember around every office I've ever worked, if it's any guy's birthday, it always gets handled. And if it's any lady's birthday, we all kind of look at ourselves awkwardly at lunchtime or something. We probably should have got a cupcake. So yeah, I think we're gonna. Most of us said fact. I think
This is true. In Japan, women do most of the gifting on Valentine's Day. Come on, guys, step it up.
And we have one bonus question in Play for Time. Thanks everyone for being part of this too. This has been a lot of fun. Bonus question. Hallmark began selling Valentine's Day cards in 1913. Fact or fiction? I'm leaning towards fiction, and I'll tell you why. Although this does have that sort of feeling of like, what's it? Josiah? Josiah, you have something? Yes, I do. This has that sort of feeling like 1913 is like right before the Great War, also known as World War One. It does have that sort of feeling like this relates in that way. I feel like I'm going to say fiction. I'm curious to know what other people say. So let me reread the question. Fact or fiction? This quiz goes to 11. Hallmark began selling Valentine's Day cards in 1913. I was in first grade. Fact, says Leslie, with some questions. Or at least an apple for the birthday. It's gluten-free. Oh, yeah, true. No gluten in apples. Fact or fiction? Hallmark began selling Valentine's Day cards in 1913. Oh, no, that's a good question. Dan says, though, that Steve Hallmark survived the Titanic and was so depressed that he began to sell these cards to raise spirits in the U.S. Old Steve Hallmark. I think it's a bit early. Fiction. However, they have been overcharging us since they did start. And Chloe also says fiction. I'm going to put myself on mute. Kerry, what do you say?
Fact. Hallmark started selling Valentine's Day cards in 1913, and their board of directors was probably thrilled with the result.
Wow, those beasts.
Fact.
I feel like Hallmark should be a private equity firm or something like that. I feel like they've got a lot of these things sewn right up. Think about that channel they have. Our new CEO, Kerry and I's mutual new CEO, one of his guilty pleasures are Hallmark Channel movies. I have never seen an adult actually say that willingly, and I was so impressed. Good for him. You do you. Etsy is kind of eating into Hallmark's profits, though. Yeah, no, I can see that because they, of course, you can really customize. You can get like a, I don't know, Predator Hallmark card or something like that. Super specific, hyper relevant cards. Yeah, for sure. Surprise, surprise, says Greg. So, yeah. Well, that's it. That turned into a really fun show. Dan, you better get an apple today. Love your amazing answers. That is going to do it for this one. Kerry, thank you so much for putting this together, though. This is a lot of fun. Leslie points out that her dad also loves. Did Dan win? Yes, Dan won. I wasn't counting. My dad loves these Hallmark movies. I never thought I would see the day. I think you all win because you sat with us and played this great game, and everybody's a winner. You all get a trophy.
Person of the day again?
I am not talking to you right now. Wait a minute. Did you delete my little radio control video? You did. You deleted my radio control video.
Maybe you're just fussy and old and fussy.
Dan says I won. I'm going to eat the heart-shaped box of chocolates I left on Kerry's desk at home. Aha. That's a good thing to do. Save the little man. All right. Well, that's it. I'll play our outro for this really great game. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We'll play the outro. I almost hit the wrong button.